Now, Bombay was the main center for Gandhiji's national movement. He launched his first non-cooperation movement in 1920 from Bombay by returning 3 medals, Kesare-Hind, and the other medals granted to him for his services during Zulu rebellion and Boer War in South Africa. Can you please tell us about his non-cooperation movement, how he started and what was the non-cooperation movement?
Yes, Sandhya, as we know now, we have entered a very exciting time of Indian history. And now Gandhi knows his way and he knows that people are ready. So, in his letter of 22nd June 1920, he has written to the Viceroy and again writing from Mani Bhavan, that he stated that the Muslims and Hindus as a whole have lost faith in British justice and honor. And so, under the circumstances, non-cooperation was the only dignified and constitutional way left. It is right recognized from the time immemorial of the subject to refuse to assist a ruler who misrules. Now, look at the choice of words by Gandhi. He conveys so much and he conveys the political statements very effectively. And so, with his letter dated 1st August 1920, addressed to the Vice Chancellor, to the Viceroy, Gandhi returned, not without pang, this is his expression, not without pang, his Kesare-Hind medal granted to him by the British government for his humanitarian work in South Africa, the Zulu War medal granted in South Africa for his war services as an officer in charge of the Indian Volunteer Services Corps in 1906, and Boer War medal for his services as Assistant Superintendent of the Indian Volunteer Stretcher Bearer Corps in the Boer War during 1899. And in his words, he returned these medals in pursuance of the scheme of non-cooperation inaugurated today in connection with the Khilafat movement. And as you know, at that time, the Muslims were not happy the way Khalifa was treated and the way Britishers had not kept the promises given to Turkey. So, the issue of Khilafat has become very important, and Gandhi thought that it is an issue which could be brought to national politics and he could forge Hindu-Muslim unity on this issue. So, the movement of non-cooperation was formally launched on 1st August 1920 and it merged with the observance of fast, hartal and processions on the day of Tilak's death. As you know, Tilak passed away in Bombay on 1st August, and by that time Gandhi had already decided to launch his non-cooperation movement. And this movement launched a new chapter in the history of India, because now Gandhi is coming at a national level. And after this meeting where he decided this, when he doesn't stop. After the movement, he holds meetings, his colleagues are always there, people are always there, and he never gets tired of that. And he has also outlined the program of non-cooperation, where he says it included non-violent mass action, including boycott of government schools, colleges, institutions, courts also, and foreign cloth definitely, surrender of all the honors and titles given by the government. Not only that, he is also asking people to resign from government service and positions. And he is asking people to engage in the program of constructive work. That means spinning, abolition of untouchability, and khadi work and prohibition, which is so important for Gandhi, and promotion of Hindu-Muslim unity. And he keeps on arguing with people. He keeps on requesting them, and people are very generous. They give their wholehearted cooperation to Gandhi. Now, there is another issue also in 1920 which is very important, a little before this launch of non-cooperation movement, and that is the observance of National Week. As we talked, 1919 on 6th April, that was the launch of the Satyagraha. Now 13th April, there was a very unfortunate incident, and that is the massacre at Jallianwala Bagh, where innocent people were just annihilated, killed. And so Gandhi says that we have to observe that particular week as a national week.
So
And
from
he-
6th to 13th is observed as National Week.
Yes, and he starts in 1920, and the tradition still continues, as you know.
Yes, 6th to 12th April.
13th April, yes. And in his opinion, this week should be observed for Swadeshi activities, for work for Hindu-Muslim unity, and especially that week he collects money for the Jallianwala Bagh Fund. And again, it is no surprise that he collects 3.25 lakhs for Jallianwala Bagh Fund or Punjab Fund. And
Those days it was a big amount, big
Yes.
sum,
Yes.
100 years ago.
And I think it also speaks of the bonding between the leader and the people.
The people's support was definitely.
And interestingly, on 31st August 1920, Gandhi took a vow in Bombay that from today for life I declare that I shall purchase for my wear only khaddar cloth, handmade of hand-spun yarn, cap or headdress or socks accepted.
So it was from Bombay when he started wearing khaddar, very important event. Now during the non-cooperation movement, Gandhi decided to collect 1 crore for Tilak Swaraj Fund. Can you please describe or tell us about it?
Yes, you know, the decision for Tilak Swaraj Fund was taken at the Bezwada Congress in March 1921. But then Gandhi decides that, you know, he should collect fund because he respected Tilak so much. And he had faith in the ability of our people. So Gandhi, again being Gandhi, he set the target very high. He said we should collect at least 1 crore of rupees. Now just imagine, Sandhya, in those days to set the target of 1 crore. And again he says that we have to collect from as many as people as possible. We should not limit ourselves just to some people who would give money. And he said there will be no statue. With that fund, we are to win Swaraj. It is to be utilized chiefly for providing education to children, for promoting the spinning wheel movement and remunerating public workers. That is to say, the contributions we shall make to the fund will be used entirely for us. So that means it is people's money which will be used for the cause of the people, for the nationalist cause. And in response to Gandhi's appeal, volunteers start working. And Gandhi had great expectations from Bombay, and people of Bombay did not disappoint him.
Bombay was a fundraiser always.
Yes, and always the commercial capital. And so industrialists and merchants, workers and activists, farmers and artists, young and old, men and women, they all contributed. So you also find people donating in lakhs, and we also find workers, artisans giving in hundreds. But no donation was too small for Gandhi. He accepted it with all respect to people and their sentiment, and of course to his favorite leader, people's leader, Tilak. And when the National Week started in Bombay, again Gandhi started expecting a lot from the people to contribute. And so Gandhi's message was put on posters at conspicuous places in the city, and the publicity was more by word of mouth. Now see, again, I find it very interesting because we are talking about means of communication today, and look at the way Gandhi communicated.
Yes, without internet, without WhatsApp.
Yes. And so he just had to tell his people that, come on, start spreading the message. And the message was spread. Now Gandhi had put the deadline of 30th June, the final date for collection, and naturally Gandhi and his team were very hectic for the fund collection. Now we get a very impressive descriptions in the archive files and other places, but I am tempted to talk to you and to tell you just what he did on the 30th June, that is the last day of his collection. See, rupees 45,000 were presented at Borivali, 12,000 at Malad. And you know where is Mangaldas market, those are the suburbs, this is coming to the city. Then he visits Mangaldas cloth market with Ali brothers, Shaukat Ali, Muhammad Ali and Sarojini Naidu. Here he is given a purse of 35,000 rupees. Then Shaukat Ali put up a Khilafat note. Unfortunately, we have not been able to get that anywhere, and I will be very happy if somebody can show it to us. Khilafat note of rupees 1 for auction, and it fetched rupees 1001.
That's a big amount, yes.
And then Gandhi and his followers, they went to Daryasthan, again a place in Mandvi, where he was given a purse of 1,10,000 rupees.
This was all in one day.
All in one day, and the day still continues. So the Bombay jewelers had met in a Shamiana in the compound of Pannalal Terrace, you know where it is at Grant Road. And 10,000 people were collected. 500 of them were women, and a purse collected was rupees 2,32,000. And it still continues. About 60,000 rupees were collected from small associations and bodies, including the grass merchants, plumbers, etc. And the cotton brokers and brokers had held a meeting at Kolaba Cotton Green. Again 7,000 people had collected, and purse of 1,54,000 was given to him.
Very good. That was amazing.
And amazing. Doesn't stop there, you know, it's like the story, it goes further.
And this is the days still going on, single day, yes.
Absolutely. So, you know, 2 bales of cotton were put on auction. The one on which Gandhi had been sitting went for rupees 6,100. The other one was not so pleasantly favored, fetched only rupees 2,500.
But anyway, then yeah, it fetched.
Rupees 10,000 were collected on the spot. The fort residents, almost 2,000 residents, they gave him a fund of 1.5 lakhs at Kanji Khetsizwadi Mint Road. The Parsis also contributed. They had a meeting and they contributed a purse of rupees 30,000 from Parsi friends and admirers of Gandhi. And so the story goes on, you know. Public meeting was held at Mandvi District Congress, where again 10,000 people were there attending, and the admission to this meeting was by ticket, rupees 1 or rupees 2. See, Gandhi had very innovative ways to collect funds, and so large heartedness and kindness of the people of Bombay, they brought outstanding outcome, and almost 37.5 lakhs out of 1 crore were given by the city of Bombay.
On one single day, the last day.
No, not the last day, but over the time. But certainly last day, so much was collected. Whatever was the deficit was collected. And Bombay's generosity earned the city the sobriquet of the beautiful by Gandhi. Just imagine, being
Bombay,
called beautiful
Bombay the Beautiful.
by Gandhi. So he wrote in Young India on 6 July 1921, the heading was Bombay the Beautiful.
What a nice name.
And he wrote, Bombay is beautiful not for its big buildings. For most of them, they hide squalid poverty and dirt, not for its wealth, for most of it is derived from the blood of the masses, but for its world renowned generosity. And Gandhi was touched. He wrote further that Bombay's charity has covered a multitude of her sins. He was aware of her sins. In respect of the Tilak Swaraj Fund, Bombay has beaten her past records. And between the 16th and 30th June, she subscribed at the rate of 2.5 lakhs per day. And she enabled India to keep her promise. So this is the story in brief of Tilak Swaraj Fund.
Bombay cooperated so well with the funds and supporting his movement. Now, Gandhi believed that to attain Swaraj, people should boycott wearing foreign clothes and foreign made goods. He gave a call for Swadeshi from Bombay. What was the Swadeshi movement?
You see, for Gandhi, Swaraj and Swadeshi are interlinked, because he said you just cannot have political freedom if you do not have economic and social freedom or equality. So for him, Swadeshi is of crucial importance, and so he keeps on propagating the cause of Swadeshi. I mean, it's not that he hates foreigners or foreign goods, but he says, look, in our country, we must use the goods which are locally produced and which will give livelihood to our own people. So he had his Swadeshi vow dated 16 June 1919, and he elaborated his ideas on the mill-made and homemade cloth. So in his opinion, one great object of propagation of Swadeshi is to prevent country's wealth from going out of it, because we are talking of those times where economy is very important to people because of all these things and import of foreign cloth. Poor weavers are getting poorer. So Gandhi was deeply disturbed by that.
It was Make in India program.
Yes. And so he gives priority to the cause of Swadeshi. So now you will see Gandhi opening Swadeshi Bhandar, Shuddha Swadeshi Vastra Bhandar, Khadi Bhandar, and in Morarji Gokaldas market in June 1919, he opened this Shuddha Swadeshi Vastra Bhandar, and he said in his speech that Swadeshi was as much a necessity of daily life as air, water and food. And see, and the only direction of propagating Swadeshi could rid people of their poverty.
Yes, they will get the jobs.
I think the more we think over this Gandhi's philosophy, we realize that how right he was. He was trying to connect everything together, the political, economic and social. And again, by accepting the cause of Swadeshi, people were not going to feel that they are doing a great sacrifice. But at the same time, it is so important for giving jobs to millions of weavers. And the merchants were the supporters of Gandhi's Swadeshi movement. And women were Gandhi's trusted workers and propagators of the message of Swadeshi. And women from elite families took to spinning the cause of Swadeshi and Khadi.
There were centers which were selling charkhas also.
Yes. And at one point, I mean, Gandhi even writes to Sir Lloyd George that yes, of course he writes his political issue, and then he says, look, I offer my services if Mrs. Lloyd George wants to learn spinning, or I can arrange to send a lady teacher.
Yes.
I mean, he really goes to all sections of society, poor, rich, Indian,
Even the British, yes, the Lord Joy.
And the Britishers, yes. And so that brings me to the next issue of bonfire. Now, see, on one hand, Gandhi is advising people to accept spinning. And on the other hand, he says, look, why should we use anything which is made in foreign? We should be using things, cloth which is made in our own country. So, there is no vindictive motive behind the idea of bonfire, but in his opinion, it is an essential component of the movement. With spinning, that was the tool of economic regeneration of the nation. And so now we move to historic bonfires. Now, such bonfires are most probably the first in the country.
Okay. So that was first in the country, first in Bombay. The Bombay was the taking a lead.
So, historic meeting inaugurating the Swadeshi campaign and a bonfire of foreign cloth was held in Elphinstone Mills. That belonged to Umar Sobhani. Where is
Elphinstone Mill is somewhere near Elphinstone Station. I think right now is India Bull's office there.
Yes,
in Parel.
And so it was held on 31st July 1921. Now, see, Gandhi was again very organized. He spread the message all over the city. So, clothes were collected at certain centers, they were brought there, they were arranged properly. Not only that, Gandhi's speech was printed and the printed copies were circulated in advance of the meeting, where Gandhi has said that I regard this day as sacred for Bombay, because we are removing today a pollution from our bodies. We are purifying ourselves by discarding foreign cloth, which is a badge of our slavery. And I am sure that the best method of perpetuating Lokmanya's memory is the attainment of Swaraj, and Swaraj is impossible without Swadeshi.
So Swaraj and Swadeshi.
And you know, he wants to present a very impressive visual, because then it makes an impact. So again, Gandhi the communicator, he knows exactly what will impress people at what stage. So large crowd had collected to witness the first bonfire of foreign cloth. It was lit in the compound of, as you said, Elphinstone Mill.
That was owned by Omar Sobhani.
Yes, and there was a huge collection of beautiful, expensive cloth and saris. And around 10 or 12,000 people were there. The crowd was very orderly, quiet, and later on, Gandhi said it was a soul-stirring sight. Bombay's example in Swadeshi, symbolized by the bonfire, created waves throughout India, and most probably this was the first bonfire of foreign cloth. Then now Gandhi has planned series. So, but before that, this 31st bonfire is in the evening, but again it is a very busy day for Gandhi, because he was present at the meeting of the working committee and he inaugurated Khadi exhibition organized by Rashtriya Stree Sabha at Rambagh CP Tank, and again spoke on Swadeshi at a meeting held in the compound of Moti Shah's Jain temple in Bhaikhala.
So he was moving from one place to another.
I mean, he is full of energy and ideas, and he never gets tired of talking to people, of meeting, of persuading them. Now comes the time for the second bonfire, and the second bonfire of foreign clothes took place on the evening of 9th October, again the same place.
At Elphinstone Mill compound.
Yes, yes. Now the enthusiasm of people was matched by their overwhelming number, because by this time they already know what is going to happen. And so the newspapers reported that the crowds collected were so large that it was impossible to pass through that bridge.
The Elphinstone Bridge.
But however, the crowd was orderly, and the people were requested to attend this meeting meeting dressed in khadi clothes, which most of them they did. And now the Congress leaders, very notable leaders like Sarojini Naidu, Lala Lajpat Rai, Maulana Azad, Umar Sobhani, Rajendra Prasad, they are also present because they had come for the Congress Working Committee meeting. So, naturally, they were at this historic meeting too. And all sorts of foreign cloth, again very expensive saris, coats, brocades, shirts, hats, handkerchiefs, everything, scarves, everything, whatever was necessary up to this time, now was considered.
I believe the people who could not come to the place to give the cloth, the volunteers were sent to their house and they could collect from their house.
Yes, you are absolutely right. And this bonfire started, and all the clothes were very well arranged. They were soaked in kerosene and mixed with crackers, so that people could really see this sight. And so profound was Gandhi's call for khadi that earlier that day, khadi along with Sarojini Naidu and Lala Lajpat Rai attended a marriage ceremony of a Parsi couple, Manchir Shah Lavingya and Dinabai Patel, at Kamabagh, where the bride and groom and their guests, they were all dressed in khadi.
So wonderful. And especially at the Parsi wedding, where they did not wear their laces, they wore khadi.
So now is the time for third bonfire, and that was arranged on 17th November, again the same place, compound of Elphinstone Mill. Gandhi presided. Now it was around this time that the Prince of Wales was coming to India. He was to come to Bombay, and Gandhi and his colleagues, they had asked the people to boycott the functions which were to be held in honor of Prince of Wales. But he also appealed the people to practice non-violence and to believe in the idea of Swadeshi and Hindu-Muslim unity. So at the third bonfire, 25,000 or so people attended. But unfortunately, later on, the event took an ugly turn, because after the bonfire was over, we come to South Bombay.
Yeah, the bonfire was in Elphinstone Road Mill compound, and it was in the South Bombay. The prince arrived in South Bombay at Colaba.
And so at that time, there were train loads of Congress and Khilafat volunteers who were returning from the bonfire. They disembarked at Marine Lice and Churney Road railway stations and found themselves face to face with the Parsis and Europeans who were leaving the route of the prince's procession. So, groups of two diverse ideologies, and perhaps the tension became very acute and it erupted. So, full scale rioting developed across the city from Tardev and Girgam in the west to the lower reaches of Parel Road. And so, stones were thrown at cars and decorations were dragged down, and so really violent disturbances throughout.
I think the trams were also burnt.
So naturally, Gandhi was deeply anguished, shocked. He never expected this. So he announced a fast till peace was restored in the city from 19th November. And then naturally the leaders were very much perturbed. The people of Bombay were also very much concerned. They did not want their leader to suffer. And so on 21st November, Gandhi broke his fast in the midst of a gathering of cooperators, non-cooperators, Hindus, Muslims, Christians and Parsis. Now you see, at this time once again we realize that Gandhi wanted to identify completely with the deprived and the poor. He had given up material comforts long back. Now in 21, he reduced his needs even further. On 22nd September, he took a momentous decision in Madura to dress only in a loincloth and a chaddar whenever necessary. and on 31st October took a vow to spend half an hour every day before his second meal and to forego the meal in case he failed to do so. So, his urge to identify with the poor was intense, and Suchita Kriplani puts it again in a very impressive manner. She says that Gandhi knew India better than most people, the real India, India of the poor and the villages.
She's right. She's right. And interestingly, we are continuing Gandhi's constructive work of having charkha classes in Mani Bhavan now.
Yes, you
even
are very
now
right.
we are
Yes.
having the
Yes.
charkha classes in Mani Bhavan.